Does the time that you choose to go live really matter? That's the topic of discussion today as we talk about whether or not you need to be intentional about choosing a specific time for your live streams. So if this sounds like a topic you are interested in, do consider sticking around as we're talking all things live stream tips for business owners and also content creators. But if you are new to me, welcome. My name is Janine. I'm a live video marketing coach, the founder of Boss It Live, known here on the YouTube streets as Video for Bosses, helping coaches, service providers, and content creators generate more leads and sales for their business by creating epic, high converting live stream content with confidence. So if this sounds like a topic, like I said, you're interested in, definitely do stick around. I've repeated myself. Oh, I just almost dropped me second device. I'm all over the place. I am today. Cool. You're going to have to just bear with me, especially those of you that come back on replay. Now I'm trying to get into my actual live. My phone is not even allowing me to do so. Let me just make sure that I'm here. I'm coming through loud and clear. Lots on the boom. Am I coming in loud and clear? Yes. My microphone is working. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Baptism of fire. I'm going to tell you, good evening and God bless to you, Susan. Thank you for being here with me. It's been hot mess patrol central today. Thank you so much for confirming. Sound, lighting, live stream is good. That makes me happy. And thank you so much for bearing with me. So, I'm really excited to talk to you about today's topic. We are navigating more of the live stream fundamentals. I need to, for 2024, get very intentional with our live stream, live video marketing strategy for 2024. So we have to dot all our I's and cross all our T's so that we are getting the good T for life results that we want, right? Because as business owners, content creators, we are marketers. So we've really got to be intentional. So, but before we go into this, I listen, you got, let me tell you something, right? You guys, my YouTube community, I'm being very handy because listen, listen, Janine wanted to cry for coming on before this live stream. Honest to goodens. I was just like, ask me why and how I have somehow managed to lose my Rode microphone. So here, let me just tell you a bit of story time. Those of you that come back on the replay, don't worry. I'm going to put this into chapters so you can skip right forward to the good tea. But for those of you that my peeps that hang out with me, oh, thank you, Susan, for welcoming everybody. Yes, we welcome you guys live and also on the replay. So I have been on the struggle. When I tell you, I have been on the struggle bus for about, this is week 3 now, going into week 3, I think week 4, maybe even, where I've had this just awful issue with my throat, chesty cough, etc. I've been going through a launch. It has been so challenging. And every week I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not really ready and organized for the YouTube community, but I love you and I want to be here. So I managed to get myself all together, got everything ready for you for this session today. And I'm setting up, getting myself all the way together just as I'm getting ready to come live, which is why I'm a few minutes late. I'm like, where's my microphone? Where's my mic? Can't find it. I'm like, no, I couldn't have lost it. I had it in my bag when I went out earlier on today. Had the intention that I was going to do an impromptu live stream in the park, but it was weird too cool. It was too cold. Susan's like, how is that even possible? I don't know. But here we are. So God is good because I managed to find one of my old mics and I don't even know if it's not even attached properly. This is how bad things are. It's not even attached properly. I've got it on some bootleg attachment. This is just my life. I'm like, let me try and pin this because, girl, can you still, Susan, let me know if you can still hear me. I'm trying to adjust this so that the quality is a little bit better. Let me just double check. Honestly, this is definitely going to be a skip ahead or people are going to just drop off. I know. Yeah, no, that's all right. That'll do. That'll do. Anyway, I just want to thank you. All seriousness, jokes aside, guys, I really want to thank you for being with me here on YouTube on this journey. I've not been able to record any videos. Just things have just been really, I'm just being really honest with you guys. Things have just been extremely challenging for me. But one of the things that I know is that once I say to you, I'm going to turn up every Tuesday at 7 p.m. UK time, that you are making the effort to turn up. Susan, you're here every week. Kashini's here every week. There are those of you that may not make it to the live, but I know that you turn up every week and you share my content out. So I'm extremely, thank you so much for confirming. Is it still okay? Let me know. I'm just extremely grateful for that, which is why I'm pushing through. So any prayers that you can send my way, I will really appreciate it. But we are getting back on track. I'm planning to actually release a video this coming Thursday. So please do watch it and do drop a comment on it, which is going to be, basically, I'm going to be sharing some TikTok live editing. I don't want to say hacks, but I've had a community member reach out and ask a question. I know this is not about TikTok today, but I've had a community member come reach out to me and ask a question on how I was able to do a specific thing. And I think it's worthwhile doing a tutorial for you guys. So I'm going to plan to do that. It's either I'm going to do it as a video or we will talk it out next week. But let's get into today's content. I know your time is precious. So what are we talking about today? So the topic in mind is, does the time you go live, does it really matter? Does it matter what time you go live? Can you just go live ad hoc? Should you be on a schedule? What should you be doing? So we're going to talk about that today. Now, before we get into today's topic, I want to remind you that if you have a question, please ask in the comments below. Even if you're watching this on replay, please make sure that you ask any questions that you have around the content that I'm sharing today. And if you are ready, do let me know in the comments as we get into this good tea for life about, is it or does it matter the time that you go live? So I want to know from you, what do you think? Does it matter or does it not? Drop it into the comments. So why are we even talking about this topic today? Well, I received a comment from one of my community members for the Lights Camera Go Live community. I went live earlier on this week, which would have been yesterday. I don't even know what day or time it is, but I went live yesterday on Facebook and I got this whole question or this comment around timing. And the comment that Laura left was that she was saying that her biggest challenge is finding the right time to go live. And she left the information that she's mostly on Facebook, but she's currently between time zones. So for her, it has been quite difficult for her to be able to show up consistently. And so I thought about that because I know that's a question or a challenge for many people in terms of showing up. What time should I show up? Because essentially you want to catch as many people as possible. And I know that we still are quite focused on the views and we want to make sure that we're reaching as many people as possible. I get that. Even for myself, I think strategically when I'm on specific platforms, times and so forth, what are the best times? So I thought, you know what? Let's actually talk about this topic today. I think this will be useful, especially as we are talking about as marketers who are utilizing live stream, that we really are looking at the infrastructure so that we're making sure that all things make sense. And I hope that makes sense to you. So here are my thoughts about this in terms of timings. There are things that you and I should consider when making decisions about how we show up in terms of the timings. So the first thing that I want to say to you is that the question you need to ask yourself is, who and where is your audience? So where is my audience? Who are they and where are they? So when I'm talking about the who, remember we're talking as business owners that are strategically marketing. It's really important that we know who our audience are that we are trying to attract to our content. Because when we know who our audience is, so let's just say ideal client, for those whom are business owners, I see all your comments coming. Thank you. Keep them coming. When we think about the ideal client as business owners, then we need to be thinking about the where is he, she, or they, right? So just to remind you of this, who are they and where is your audience? So your ideal client Where is, let's just say she, right? So I'm going to ask those of you that are here, what platform do you mostly hang out on? I know probably you're going to say YouTube, but thinking about the platform that you hang out most on, then you need to take that consideration to your own specific audience. If they are mostly on this platform, what are they going to be culturally or likely to be doing, right? Especially when you know who your ideal client is. If your ideal client is a woman who has young children, she's likely to have a school run at some point, right? Morning and afternoon. So if you're trying to attract Sheila, who fits that profile, it would make sense to avoid those specific times, right? Be really, really specific about that. Avoid those times. And also, when I'm talking about who your audience is and where they are, the reason why I've brought up the where aspect of it is because certain platforms determine your audience or your reach based on your region. So, what do I mean? Let's take TikTok, for example. So, TikTok has great organic reach available to us at the time of this recording. Who knows what's going to be like next year and beyond. But TikTok, even though the organic reach is depleting, which is what happens to all platforms, welcome everyone that's coming in, even though the reach does deplete, it still is a great platform for organic reach and being discovered by new audiences. We know that our content goes out into the For You page, the FYP. Therefore, you and I have the opportunity to be exposed to new audiences on a daily basis. But TikTok, when you understand the platform and the culture of it, TikTok is regional. So TikTok sends your content out to your audience based on where you are. So I'm from the UK. When I review my analytics, my audience is predominantly a massive, by a landslide, is from the UK. And then it breaks it down from there. Even when I go live, I poll my audience and I ask them, where are you from? And yes, I'll have the odd one or two from the US, for example, but it's always the majority of my audience is from the UK. So if you know who you're trying to attract and regionally, you know how the platform is, how it sends out your content, then that's one of the things that should be a factor as a business owner, as a marketer, as to the time that you decide to go live. Does this make sense? Let me know if you're picking up what I'm putting down. I need you guys to help me out today. I'm on this struggle bus, but I'm still going to bring you the value. The next point is this. What does your analytics tell you about your audience? So analytics is an interesting thing, as we know. This helps to determine how we can replicate more of what's working. We can understand that if we're creating content and people are dropping off at certain times, what did you say? What did you do at that moment in time that people dropped off? Analytics will tell us where people are tuning in from, all of the yummy stuff, if we are taking the time to pay attention to those things. So in terms of time and when you should go live, bearing in mind what I've just shared, look at the analytics. Let the data tell you or drive part of your reasoning behind the strategy for the time that you show up live. Does this make sense? Please do let me know. Because what tends to happen, put your dentures back in, Janine, is that a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going live, I've got 1,000 views. But do you understand those 1,000 views? Did those people complete your content? Are those people your ideal audience, or are they just random? Thank you, Susan, for holding it down with all of the comments. I really do appreciate you. So I really want you to think about when you're making a decision about your strategy for live streaming on whatever platform you are focusing on reaching your ideal audience, definitely pay attention to the data. The data does not steer you wrong. The data will help you to determine, like I said, what times work best for you. The next thing is that, have you decided on a regular day and time? So this is something that I believe is key for you consistently reaching more of your ideal clients or your target audience and building a community around what it is that you do. Now, it can feel very laborious and a little bit rigid. I have to go live at a certain time, and you don't have to. You can say, ad hoc, I'll go live whenever I can. if that's what you have to do, because that's the only way you can go live and reach people, then by all means do whatever works for you. However, I have to say that it's very, very difficult to be able to track your data consistently, to be able to analyze and understand how things are working, what things are working. It's hard to keep a consistent flow and audience attending because people are not always going to be available online when you are going live. And if they don't know when to expect you, you could be going live on Facebook, and just at that time, they may have been available, but they might have been scrolling on TikTok. But if you create the habit of a dedicated day and time and show up consistently and do it for a consistent period of time, you're going to be able to quantify the data to see what's working best for you. And as an example, I use Nick Nimmin as an example every single time, but let's just talk about StreamYard. StreamYard! I can't do it because my voice is terrible. But let's just use StreamYard for an example, because otherwise you guys can say, girl, you are obsessed with Nick Nimmin. You just keep talking about Nick all the time. I do love Nick Nimmin. He's my mentor. But anyway, StreamYard go live every single Sunday. I miss it because of the time. But they go live every single Sunday. And when they go live, they're going live to answer community questions. They don't stray away from the day, the time, the format, of the way the actual show runs. This is what they do because they're creating a culture. So their community are continually showing up. Same thing with Nick Nimmin as well. Goes live. I'll just mention it. Goes live every single Saturday. Same time, same place. Thank you, Susan, for tooting the horn for StreamYard. I couldn't do it today, right? But why are they doing that? Because it's about building a consistent brand presence, community, and people tend to, if there's consistency, they tend to show up. It's as simple as that. So when you're taking into consideration some of the things that I'm talking about today, right? Putting a day and time to what it is that you're doing. Well, number one, it's going to do those things that I've said, but it's also going to hold you accountable for showing up. If, for example, I was not on a schedule to come live every single Tuesday, 7 p.m. UK time, if I wasn't on that schedule, I didn't notify people and all the rest of it, and I was just like, I'll go ad hoc. With the day I have had today and the past few weeks, I probably wouldn't have shown up. I'd be like, I can skip it. And that's what happens to a lot of people. They skip because they're not getting the results. It's easy to bow out. But when you have a regular show, a regular day and time that you turn up, you can't skip it. You are held accountable. Does that make sense? So Susan, who is here commenting, and thank you so much for all of your wonderful comments, Susan. I'm going to go through them in a moment. Susan said a couple of weeks ago in my live, when I came back to my consistent schedule, said, I'm going to put it into my calendar. So it's in my calendar, 7 p.m. UK time on a Tuesday. Susan is here. And if she's not here, she's either on a call making her way to be here. Why? Because she knows I'm going to be here. So it's the same thing, my friends, choosing a day and time. The next thing is, I want to ask you the question, are you promoting on social media? And if you are promoting it on social media, how are you doing so? Because that should be a firm part of your visibility strategy, or all the things to do with your timing and so forth to get people to where you need to be or where you want them to be because of where you are. Is about promoting. So once you know regionally where your audience are, you know who they are, you're creating the consistent culture, you're creating a schedule and a show, date and time, right? That's the next step. That is the next thing that you should be doing. It should be, I am promoting on social media. But the question is, how are you doing so? So again, I want to remind you about the culture of the platform. How many of you have heard me talk about the importance of understanding the culture of the platform and taking into consideration all the different features that they have that you can then, as a marketer, marketing your live stream content, that you can use to your advantage. So for example, yesterday, going back to TikTok, I was talking to them about using the stories and sticker feature that they have, which is the same thing that you have available on Instagram. So regardless of whatever platform you are on, look at all of the features and tools that are readily available to you and take the time to implement them into your strategy so that you are promoting, you're fully optimizing, promoting ahead of time. Please let me know if this is making sense. I know Susan said that this makes sense. So if you have, and regardless of whether or not you are going live on one specific platform, yes, use all the features for that specific platform, but make sure that you are cross-posting and cross-promoting to other places as well. Don't just be a one trick. Even if you want to drive traffic to one place, be intentional with doing that, but also utilize everything that is optimized fully, all of the things that are available to you. I hope that makes sense. So let's have a look here. Oh, thank you again, Susan, for saying that. And yes, so Susan has said, when you bow out, you lose your community. Like a group I'm in the morning, there is no consistency, and she has lost a lot of people. So yeah, absolutely. You definitely have to. And it can feel very difficult. Let me just speak to that point for a moment. It can feel very difficult. It can feel very challenging when you feel like you're showing up and you're just not getting the results. But you have to take the time and you have to do things over a period of time, consistently and diligently, before you yield the fruit, right? When you plant the seed is not when you yield the fruits. Every single one of us know that. And if you know that, and you know that for someone else, then you must have that mindset for yourself. So you have to have a bulletproof, robust mindset that you are intentionally doing what needs to be done. And once you are consistent and you do things over a period of time, absolutely 100%, you will see the results that you want to see. The problem is, and I've mentioned this before, is that with the rise of short form video content and my lighting just went, it's come back. I adjusted myself. My webcam was like, no. Oh dear, I went yellow for a minute. I'm back. But the rise of short form video content means that people's attention span and patience is a lot less. It's a bit different to how it was back in the day with live streaming. Back in the Periscope days, we missed Periscope. The early days of Facebook when they were giving reach, people would go and watch you for hours upon hours. That's not the case anymore for the most part. But you still have the ability to do it, because I see a lot of, and this is why I love YouTube, because people who are on YouTube are intentionally here, which means that if you're creating the culture, building that community, you are going to have those people that come to those lives, stay with you the entire live, and will watch your replays and drop comments, because I've had that, right? So this is just a great way, just a little flash of your light. Thank you, Susan. So this is a great way as well. And this is why I love adding live stream into my strategy with YouTube, is because this is where I build the watch time. When I do the live streams, this is where I build my watch time. So you've got to have the balance, of course. But yeah, no, absolutely. So thank you very much for sharing your perspective on that, Susan. So this is the last point about promoting on social media. A quick recap and a reminder. It's really important that you are actually doing that, because we can't be dependent or reliant on just one way of doing things, because you'll burn yourself out and exhaust yourself when you can, optimize the opportunity. So the next point is, the question I have to ask you is, are you regularly promoting to your email list? Are you using your contact list to create awareness around your live stream show? So this is something that I think every single one of us should be doing. And my coach is diligent with doing this every single week. So she has a weekly show. She has a name for her show. I don't have a name for my lives, my weekly lives. Maybe we need to come up with a name for my weekly show, I think. Maybe. Does that matter? I don't know. Maybe we need to come up with a show name. If you guys have some suggestions for my weekly Tuesday live and we want to give it a show name, because like when I used to go live on Facebook, I had a very indirect, but it worked. I would go live at lunchtime and it would be called Coffee and Chat. But I haven't named this particular live. But anyway, the point that I'm making is that it's important to utilize your contacts list. My coach is very, very specific about her show. Every single week, an email goes out and there's a topic and a theme related to the pain point of the live that she's going to be talking about and what her list or what her ideal client or audience are currently going through. So she will speak on the specific point in the email to make it a value stacked email. But the call to action will be the answer to that pain that you're experiencing. I'm going to be discussing it on my weekly live, this week's episode of X, Y, and Z, right? And that's what she does. And she is so intentional that she sends a follow-up email reminder 1 hour or 30 minutes before the live is due to go. And then she'll do a post follow-up saying, oh, if you missed it. That is really, really key. So you should be doing it. I should be doing it consistently. I'm going to admit I don't do it consistently, but it's really, really good because people need those reminders. And if they're reminded and if they care and if they're into what you're doing, they're available, which if you're creating that show culture, then they're going to be turning up, then that's what happens. So really, really important for you to think about the points that I'm actually making today. And I'm going to do a recap of them in a moment. But I just wanted to make sure that you're really, really clear. And welcome to everyone that's coming in. I see a couple of new people have joined. Please do let us know where you are tuning in from, as we would love to welcome you. I've got my lovely moderator, Susan, that is here. And if you aren't sure who Susan is, here is Susan. Let me just find Susan's message here. There was a welcome message. Here it is. So that's Susan. So she's welcoming all of you. Please do introduce yourself so we can say hi to you. So I want you to reflect on the following things. So what should you essentially be doing when it comes to thinking about the time frame for when you go live? Is consider the points that I've shared with you today. But what you also should be doing is reviewing your data once you have tested consistently over a period of time. Then make the necessary changes and adjustments. But when I'm saying over a consistent period of time, that's not 1 week or 1 month. You know, at a foundation, at a minimum, and I know no one likes zero. It needs to be at least 90 days consistently. 90 days of consistently putting something into place and tracking your data, and then reviewing what is not working, what is working. And what is working, you rinse and repeat it, because you create an evergreen system, right? You rinse and repeat it, and things that aren't quite working, you get rid of those things, or you look at the pinpoints of what is going on to indicate what is not working, right? So essentially, as much as it can feel really, really challenging, especially if you feel like I'm going live and no, not for me, you definitely 100% need to keep going and staying the course. And I hope that that is making sense for you. So today we have talked about, does the time you go live matter? So I want to ask you now, based on what we talked about so far, do you think it matters about the time that you go live each week or bi-weekly, whatever your schedule is? Do you think it actually matters? Do drop it into the comments. I would love, love, love to hear from you. So before I do the recap, I want to ask you, what has been your biggest takeaway from today's what has been your biggest takeaway? Do drop it in to the comments, live or replay. The 5 points I want to recap for you right now is, number one, knowing who your audience is. That's really, really important to know who they are when you are deciding on, your marketing strategy for going live. Hello, Carla. Good to see you. How are you this week? It is so good to see you. Have you been here the whole time? Do let me know. Let's have a look here. Susan says, it does matter. I personally believe, absolutely. And Carla said that the biggest takeaway for her, and Carla's been here, is that I must actively promote to your email list. Absolutely, 100%. So who is your audience? The second point was checking your analytics. This is really important as well, that we're consistently checking our analytics. And then choosing the regular date and time. Susan said it matters. And I know Susan puts it in her calendar. Choosing a regular date and time. Promoting on social media. Make sure that you're actually doing that. And also taking the time to email your list. So those are the points that we have covered. And also, one of the things I want to talk to you about, which we will be speaking more about, is your plan, your content plan. Making sure that you are really intentional with your resounding message. I was talking about this earlier on today on TikTok, especially when it comes to building your personal brand, be marketing to your ideal client and audience, building your community, and also taking your community on that customer journey. If you are a business owner and a marketer, we're in the business of selling our products and our services. So therefore, It's really important that we are intentional with our content. And I want to just invite you to join my content planning masterclass, which is happening on the 11th of December. This is going to be a live masterclass with access to a replay. So the masterclass is all about helping you with planning your content and marketing strategy for Q1 of 2024. And of course, obviously, you plan throughout the year. Depends on you whether you plan a whole year ahead or you plan quarterly. I tend to plan quarterly. That works for me. But this masterclass is really focused on helping you get clear on who your audience is, how you're going to connect with them on social media by the content that you're actually creating. We're going to be talking about content planning and understanding your overarching theme, your content pillars, and how you actually break it down so that you're speaking directly to your ideal audience. All of the information for this content planning masterclass will be linked below. And as I said, you will have the opportunity to join live. You'll have access to the replay if you select to the option to have access to the replay, because there's 2 tiers. So you'll get a workbook and you'll also get a content planning tracker. Again, it depends what option you go for. There are 2 options. The content planning masterclass is just £27 for the basic. Attend the class with workbook. But if you want access to the replay and the content planning tracker in addition to that, then it's £37. So this is happening on the 11th of December. I would love to see you join that class. It's going to be absolutely amazing if you are serious about getting clear about your content going into 2024 and beyond. So this has been our weekly episode. I've absolutely loved talking all things with you. And last week we were talking all things live video strategy for engagement, building engagement when you're not getting many viewers. And as such, I want to encourage you to click on the video that pops up here. And I want to thank every single one of you for joining me on today's live stream. We've got the lovely Susan that's been here. Thank you, Carla, for sharing as well. And everyone else who is watching, I appreciate you live or replay. I will see you back here next week. Good evening and God bless from me. Take care. And thank you again. Bye, guys.